What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 15, and we'll start today's episode off with some training drills, and guess who's getting free drills? That's Ollie Shaw, of course, and also free scouting updates as well. First for Northern Ireland, as you can see, we continue scouting on Christian Brady. We've got 4 players here from England we'll continue our scouting on as well. Sam King could be quite good, we'll keep an eye on him though, and also 3 players from Ireland are also continuing to scout as well. So no players making our academy yet. You might notice I'm being a lot more selective with my choices in the youth squad this year, and that's because I don't want to have a massive stacked academy or after like 2 or 3 years. I mean, you might have noticed it in some of my more recent career modes. I've got like 10 or 12 youth players already in the first team and already like in their mid to high 60s. I want to be very selective and only get the very best players I can if possible, and do it that way. I just feel it's a bit more realistic that way as opposed to having like half your squad for the youth players in like 3 years. But anyway, first game of today's episode coming on the back of that 2-1 defeat away at St James's Park would be against Manchester United, and it took just 13 minutes for the hosts to go in front. Martial's header off the post, and Fred, the former Shakhtar Donetsk man, follows it up and puts it into the open goal. And you might notice Dean Henderson was playing in this game. I do apologise for that. Obviously Henderson is on loan from Manchester United, so in real life couldn't play against his parent club. Totally forgot to take him out of the team, sorry about that, but there was nothing you could do about either of the goals regardless, so I wasn't gaining an unfair advantage in this game. We were 2-0 down at the break. First Fred, then João Pedro making it 2-0, and the Red Devils already had a 2-goal lead heading into half-time. Well, really, we'd done nothing in the first half. We had nothing in the second half either until the 72nd minute when Ivan Toney put Eric Bailly on the floor. The Ivorian caught up, then Toney said, alright, I'll skin you again then. Pegs back to the edge of the area. Besic is there, and the on-loan Everton midfielder is taken down by Scott McTominay as we have a chance to get back in the game, basically completely out of nothing. Obviously a massive fan of McTominay in real life, scored a lovely goal against Norwich yesterday, but that's a certain penalty, no doubt about that. Lunges in there recklessly and the Bosnian taken down, and I was thinking, well, we missed that penalty at Stamford Bridge comically in the FA Cup, but this one we find the back of the net. My first penalty scored in this year's FIFA, and I got to be honest, I thought to myself, you know, I read the instructions when I took the penalty in the FA Cup game against Chelsea, got it horribly wrong. I thought this time we're not going to press circle again, like I read that I thought you were supposed to do when the player runs up, so I left it, and well, maybe Lys Mousset should take all our penalties. Third goal of the season for Mousset, great to see him get back on the score sheet in the Premier League once again, and it's Manchester United 2, Sheffield United 1, but unfortunately the goal proved to be nothing but a consolation. It gave us a glimmer of hope, but that was quickly taken away from us by Mason Greenwood, the teenage talent at Old Trafford, off the bench, responds to a flick on first, half volleys it past Dean, and settles any kind of nerves whatsoever inside Old Trafford. 3 on the final score, 2-goal cushion restored, and they definitely deserved a win, no doubt about it. We only had one chance in the game, and it came from that quick little breakaway, which resulted in our penalty, which resulted in our goal. Not our best performance there. It's worth pointing out too, it's now 4 defeats in our last 5 games in all competitions, and after that big win in the last episode and then the big loss in the last episode against Newcastle United, I was starting to think to myself, you know, whilst we are several points clear of the bottom 3 right now, it's not over yet. And we are now starting to have a little bit more fear about relegation. You know, since the start of the second half of the season, we have been playing much better than our form suggested in the first half of the season. But it's not over until it's over. I know it's a real cliche, but it's true. And anything can happen in the Premier League. Right now, there's 8 or 7 games to go, depending on what team you support. Liverpool are still in front right now by 5 points, I think it is. But Spurs have a game in hand. And as for the bottom of the table as well, 7 games to go for all the teams right now at the bottom of the table. We're 8 points clear of Aston Villa. We got a better goal difference record as well, and we are again 2 to 3 places clear. Was it 2 or 3 places clear at the drop zone as well? You know, we are looking like we're going to be safe, but it's not over just yet. Anything can happen in football. Aston Villa get back-to-back wins, for example, and we have back-to-back defeats, and the gap's cut to 2 points, so nothing is over just yet. But for our second game of today's episode, we will take on Spurs here back at Bramall Lane, as the Premier League's top scorer Harry Kane will come and take us on here at Bramall Lane. Spurs, of course, still going for the title in this year's career mode. Again, just a few points behind Liverpool, and this was their game in hand, lining up in a 4-1-2-1-2. by the way, how good was Gazaniga yesterday for Spurs against Liverpool? Unbelievable, man was on fire. But of course we knew he would be. He loves the big games. Gazaniga is a big game player. But still, we've taken on Spurs here. They started off really brightly right from the get-go, as you would expect for a team right now looking to get themselves towards top of the table. If not top of the table come the end of the game, at least cutting the gap. And they would go in front as well through another rebound goal. How many rebound goals we conceded this season? Heung-min Son toying with me as he always does in career mode. His shot well saved by Dean, but pushed out only as far as Dele Alli as the former MK Dons midfielder makes it 1-0. Son then hit the post right before the break in the first half, where Spurs had dominated really. Just couldn't get the ball off them, to be honest. And again in the second half, it was just Heung-min Son doing it all. I've mentioned before, and I've said it again. I said it before, and I'll say it again. Heung-min Son in career mode is like my arch nemesis. I mean, the guy literally has a stormer against me every single game. Set up both Dele Alli goals, and then thought he got a goal himself as well 20 minutes after the restart, putting the ball in the near post, but thankfully the offside flag saves us. And you might have heard the ironic cheers from the Sheffield United fans. I was cheering on the sidelines as well. I was thinking, thank God, that's how you stop Heung-min Son then, make him offside. But really, Spurs were just dominating from start to finish in this game. Sissoko then made it 3-0 after Kane knocked the ball back to him. The top scorer in this game was setting them up and not putting him in himself there. That was 3-0, and 3-0 then became 4-0 here with 8 minutes to go. Christian Eriksen, the Dane, squeezes it under the body of Henderson, who I must say really should have saved that one. I've been quite critical of Dean this season. You know, there have been some goals which I think he really should have saved, and this one is definitely added to the list, no doubt about that. He's obviously our best goalkeeper by far, there's no denying that, but there have been some goals he's let in this season where I thought to myself, you know, he's a young goalkeeper, can't be overly critical, can't be too harsh on him, but you'd expect a Premier League goalkeeper to save that. But still, 4-0. We would get ourselves a consolation goal right towards the end. Lys Mousset, who hadn't scored since his brace against Everton in the Premier League, now gets 2 goals in 2 games. Billy Sharp off the bench rolled him through, and Mousset makes it 4-1 to at least reduce the deficit, if nothing else, and put it back to 3. But you see the stats right there. Spurs are going for the crown this year, and I mean, that game was evidence they've definitely got a good chance of doing so. They completely dominated from start to finish, and every time they came forward, they looked like scoring. It was absolutely ridiculous, man. But following the game, the 4-1 defeat you did see there, that Phil Jagielka is going to be leaving the club come the end of the season. Of course, came back for a year here at Bramall Lane to be a dressing room leader for us. Hasn't really played for us this season, though, to be honest. He's obviously a very, very slow player now in his mid-30s, and I need a bit more pace in my back line, really, as he'd like to play with a bit of a higher line, like to press a little bit more too. So Jagielka just doesn't really fit into my system, really. So he's going to go to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Nice little way to end his career there in Germany for the veteran Englishman. And you see after the game as well, the gap was still 8 points between us and Aston Villa. So despite the 4-1 defeat there, and despite it now being 5 defeats in 6 games in all competitions, still 8 points clear of Aston Villa, who might have beaten us very recently, but since then they just can't seem to pick up points at all. And now taking on Burnley, another team threatened by relegation, for our third and final game of today's episode away at Turf Moor, on the back of a run of 3 consecutive defeats for Sheffield United. We had to stop the rot here and pick up at least a point. And with Burnley just 1 place below us in the table and 4 points behind as well, we felt as though a win in this game could possibly secure our safety in the Premier League for another year. And that's why we started off in attack mode right from the beginning as well. The Ollies linked up there for our first chance of the game. Sure, the teenage talent storming down the left-hand side, but that shot just wide the post and behind for a goal kick. But Norwood once again was looking at the heartbeat in this game. Every time I had the ball, I was looking to play it back to our captain in this match. There's Ravel Morrison stormed down the right-hand side here. He whipped in a deep cross to the back stick. And who's there at the far post arriving? Ivan Toney, the shocker, stuns Turf Moor silent, makes it Burnley 0, Sheffield United 1. And we've needed a goal in the second half of this season. This is the guy we've been looking to. Toney, the former Peterborough United striker, makes it 1-0, and we led at the break courtesy of Toney putting it in. So 1-0 to the Blades at half-time, 45 minutes away from possible Premier League safety. And in the second half, we almost doubled our lead for a rare goal from outside the area. John Fleck trying his luck, and the Scottish midfielder puts it off the post and behind for a goal kick. Then the 63rd minute, Goodmanson crossed the ball into the middle. Jay Rodriguez flicked it down to Ashley Westwood. The chance was still alive. Goodmanson crossed it in again. And sometimes I think the game just doesn't want me to win. Goodmanson crosses the ball into the middle. John Egan goes to head the ball away. I've said it so many times this season. He's been our best centre-back this year. I mean, seriously? I'm hammering down circle like a madman, and it goes all the way into the top corner as Burnley get back on level terms, and it's 1-1. They almost went in front as well and turned again on its head. Dilly-dally with McKenna there, couldn't get the ball clear. Rodriguez sent forward, and what a save by Dean Henderson to keep us still on level terms. So right towards the end of the game, both teams going for a winning goal, all-out attack, and with 10 minutes remaining on the clock in a big relegation six-pointer, he's done it again. Ivan Toney, I think I might have called him even earlier. Ivan Toney makes it 2-1 Sheffield United, restores our lead and puts us back in front in the dying moments of the game. Lovely first touch. Two Burnley players collide with one another and he arrows the strike into the bottom corner to make it 2-1 and get his 6th goal in the Premier League. What a signing he has been, and what a win for Sheffield United as well. We hold on for the 3 points, get the victory which we thoroughly deserved. Well, I'd have been fuming how we not won that game after that Egan own goal. We get ourselves the win though, no surprise for man of the match. It is the shocker, 2-1 at the final score. 5 games remaining in the Premier League. We're now 11 points clear of Aston Villa, and those relegation fears have surely been put to bed, and it's surely all over. We should be playing Premier League football next season. But that was today's episode of Career Mode, guys. Big thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do drop a like, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.